Hop on with us as we dive into the latest topics, share some laughs, and bring you insightful conversations in and around the realm of ag. From down-home wisdom to cutting-edge tech, we've got what you need to fuel your curiosity. So tune in, relax, and let's kick back. On the Tailgate, presented by Wade Incorporated.
All right, well, welcome to On the Tailgate, Episode 1. Exciting opportunity here, kicking off this podcast, presented by Wade Incorporated. I'm your host, Cade Moody. We've got my co-host, Gaston Line, and our producer, Riggs Ware, over here. But I want to spend a little time introducing our special Episode number 1 guest, which is the very fitting President and CEO of Wade Incorporated, Mr. Wade Litton. Wade, we appreciate your time today.
Yep. Oh, well, look, thank you. Excited to be on Episode 1 with this distinguished group here. I love what we're doing with this podcast. I'm just glad that we're getting this thing off the ground. It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to this first episode, and really more than anything, looking forward to all the episodes that we've got coming down the path. I mean, speaking about agriculture in Mississippi, the technology, but also fun topics, anything from hunting, may talk some college baseball, different things like that. Yeah, it's an exciting time, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got an episode coming up in the near future that's going to be what is on the tailgate, and that's kind of where we're going to discuss what are we going to talk about and why we named it that. And, you know, the reason is you can talk about anything on the tailgate.
That's
Sports,
right.
Hunting, combines, planters, whatever. But today we're going to be talking a lot about the history of Wade Incorporated and kind of your past in the company and how successful it's been and the story behind that, kind of where it's going. So give us a little rundown about, you know, we labeled the episode Wade Hardware.
Yeah.
So give us a little rundown of the history of Wade and how we got here.
Well, that I think it's a great place to start, and I'll do my best to try to give a historical perspective. I know we're going to get my father, Bill Litton, on here, and he's sometimes I joke he was here day one, but he really wasn't here day one. But he's been here for a much longer time. But Wade Hardware, and it was called Wade Hobbs Hardware right when we started in 1909 here in Greenwood, and we were a hardware company, and we would deliver and sell to all the different farms and commissaries out in the Delta and the surrounding areas, and we'd sell everything from hose to saddles to wood burning stoves to, I think at some point maybe sold dogs to rifles to shotguns. So anything that really you needed back in 1909, and we were Wade Hobbs Hardware, and then just a few years later turned to Wade Hardware, but started in 1909. Proud to say that we were selling John Deere plows at that time, and we are the oldest John Deere dealer in the world. There were some other John Deere dealers that started before us, but they've since sold or changed hands, but we're the longest running, oldest John Deere dealer out there. So that's something we're real proud about. But, you know, it started in 1909, and actually we added our second location in Clarksdale in 1917. So we've had more than one location for a long time. But so as we went on just through the years, we were able to add Indianola in the 50s and really were able to grow the company and into kind of what it is today. But, you know, you think about 116 years ago and you think about today, and really there's a lot of difference in the farms out there, the people that we were selling to, the services that we were doing. But the one thing that remains consistent from 116 years ago to today is the quality of customers and the quality of employees and the quality of people and the quality of the brand of John Deere. So, you know, that's what's made us successful is just the type of customers we have, the type of generational partnerships that we've built over the years with our customers who we're still doing business with today. And like I said, the type of people that work at Wade Incorporated is something that's gotten us to 116 years. So we got some good ones here today too, and hopefully we'll get to the next 116 years.
I want to go back to the start, and I know Mr. Litton could probably get into this a lot more, but how did you said you're selling a bunch of other appliances and
right.
other type of things. So how did you put most of the focus into John Deere and become just a John Deere dealer? I know we sell some other things outside of John Deere, but where did that shift happen?
Yeah.
Was it on the front end knowing that that's what you were going to do, or did it just kind of happen down the road where we focused strictly on John Deere?
Strictly on John. That's a great question. You think about 116 years is a long time, and actually kind of around the Great Depression area and when things were not great. At one point, and Dad will be able to elaborate on this a lot better than I can, but I've heard the story enough that at one point, we weren't able to pay our bills to John Deere. So John Deere took some collateral and some deeds on some of our property. And we actually at one point had 2 John Deere employees that sat on our board of directors. And we got in the minutes somewhere that one of the John Deere employees who were on the board made a motion that maybe we just need to focus on just John Deere products. So he was doing his job to make sure that he was representing his company. But it's a partnership that we've built with John Deere for a long time, to the fact that we actually had some John Deere employees on our board of directors. That shift to mostly all John Deere happened around that time. I'm thinking maybe the 50s and 60s. I'm not really 100% sure. But we did incorporate in the 60s and changed the name to Wade Incorporated at that time, and so that's kind of gotten us where we are here today.
So speaking of Wade Incorporated,
I was about to say the letters.
where'd the sign begin? The iconic Wade lettering.
Right.
When did that start?
That's another good question. I think that was in the 60s. If you kind of look at it, it's kind of got that 60s feel to it. And that would have been my grandfather, George K. Wade. Because here in Greenwood, where we are now, we used to be downtown, where the old Hosai Guy building was, or right there by Goldberg's, right along the train tracks. And that's where we were, because we needed to be by the train tracks, because that's how they deliver equipment and goods to us. And then in 61, we moved out here to where we are now. And at the time, a lot of the business people told my grandfather that he was crazy, because he was moving out in the country and surrounded by cotton fields, and nobody would be able to get to the store. And now we're kind of right in the middle of things.
In the middle.
Yeah, but I think that's about the time when we put that first Wade sign up, I would imagine.
Well, it's definitely very recognizable.
It is.
Now 116 days after founding, or 116 years after founding, that is a very recognizable logo.
Yeah, you hear people, I meet people, and they're from the area or grew up in Mississippi, and they always, they say, "Oh gosh, I remember driving through the Delta, and I remember those Wade four signs right there." That's something that always sticks with people.
All right, so that's a good kind of overview of the history of the company. Let's talk a little bit about you and your growing up with, of course, in the company, and then your path to CEO.
Well,
where'd you start?
Where'd I start? I'll tell you where I started, in the parts department when I was in junior high, putting up parts, stocking parts, sweeping the floors, and then I moved back, and we used to have a setup department now where our IntelliFarm kind of storage is, and a gentleman named Bob Buchanan that a lot of people will remember, he set up all the equipment that we sold out of Greenwood. So I worked back with him in the summertime. And we would set up cotton pickers, basket pickers at the time. We'd put duals on tractors, all the pre-delivery stuff you got to do before you deliver it to a customer. Did that all growing up, and then of course went to school, went to Ole Miss, graduated from Ole Miss. I spent a little time in other places, and then came back. My first job back in Greenwood was I was the service administrator, service clerk, and so I helped the service manager, Lewis Schrader at the time, with closing work orders, those type of things. And then about 4 or 5 months later, I became the service manager. And you want to talk about not knowing what you were doing or talking? I had no idea. I was very green, but So I was a service manager in Greenwood for about 4 or 5 years, and those were probably I learned the most about the business, customers, our employees during that time, and then I focused a lot on the AMS side. So came out with AutoTrack. It was SF1 at first, then it became SF2. You could only run it on 2-track machines. It wasn't even available on wheel machines. You couldn't go in reverse. So spent a lot of time integrating the AutoTrack with a lot of our customers. Then came out with the SF-RTK. The product was so much better. It grew from there, right? And then I spent some time as a store manager in Greenwood, and then COO, and did some other roles, and then became CEO in 2016.
Have seen it all.
Yeah.
Have seen it all.
I think it's interesting. You point out, you mentioned a lot of names of people that helped you along the way,
Right.
and I think that says a lot about Wade Incorporated as a whole. Is putting the right people in the right spots. You know, I've seen it in my short time here. A lot of people that I enjoy being beside every day, and it seems like a lot of passion out there. So I think that's very important. Just a comment, but yeah, it's neat. It's neat to see.
A lot of knowledge out there for sure.
Yeah.
So when you were, just a question back to your service manager days,
Yeah.
do you feel like that customer who had that tractor broke down in the field, that maybe there's a rain coming, did they take it easy on you when they made that phone call, or did they give it maybe amp it up a little bit?
You know, much like what Gaston just said, we have a lot of employees with passion. We have a lot of passionate customers.
Yeah, we do.
And look, hey, that folks got to get work done.
Yeah. It's
and,
not a bad thing all the time.
No,
That's-
listen. And if you can take care of customers in those times, then that's a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
And we always tried to do that, and it was never easy. But hey, nothing's easy, and I'll be the first to say that I made a lot of mistakes, and we've had. If you look at top service managers ever be in this company, I'm way down on the bottom of that list. Way down on the bottom of that list.
It's a challenging department.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It really is.
How important do you think it was shaping you as the leader you are today, going through and seeing every facet of the company?
Very important. Very important. I mean, you just learn how to talk to people, and you learn all the challenging parts of the business, the challenging parts of the ag industry. Like I said, there's so many things that are in our customers' control, but there's so many things that are out of our customers' control, weather, commodity prices, things like that. And if dealing and working with Wade Incorporated and knowing that we're going to be here to take care of you and try to get your uptime where it needs to be with your equipment, that's one thing that you can hope they can put on the side of things that are in my control, because so they can focus on a lot of the things to how to avoid that are out of their control. So it was a very good learning experience. Wouldn't trade it for anything. So it was good.
Yeah.
In your role now, and overseeing the whole company, a lot of different areas in our AOR, I guess we see ups and downs. We're in a downtrend right now as far as just the economy and whatnot. How do you approach the future? How far out are you looking? And I know you've got to handle things that happen today, but then how far out in the future are you looking, and what's your thinking on that, I guess?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. We've been farming in this area for hundreds of years, and we're going to continue to farm in this area for hundreds of years. So you got to have that perspective that, hey, we got to focus on the here and now, and the here and now brings challenges that are new and we're not accustomed to. Some of them we are accustomed to. We've been through a down cycle, but also you got to understand that you got to have, as we say, you got to have one foot in the now, and you got to have another foot in the future, because there's a lot of exciting things that are coming in agriculture. You look at all the technology, you look at the autonomy, you look at all of the machine learning, everything that's going to be available to our customers. So at the end of the day, they're going to be able to put more money to the bottom line. they're going to be able to get a return on that investment, because that's the most important thing. I mean, all this technology can be cool and it's neat, but at the end of the day, it's got to make more money for the customer. It's got to make more money for the customer. It's got to make their lives easier. And sometimes technology doesn't make your life easier, but it evolves, and it's happening at such a rapid pace that it's going to make it easier. It's not going to be as clunky. It's going to make it easier for them to do their jobs, to be able to grow, maybe spend more time with their family, yet still getting the outcomes that they're looking for in their crop. So you got to stay focused on that. You can't quit investing in the technology and investing in the future. And so it's something that you always got to be looking at.
I heard your dad say the other day, or he mentioned that same thing about, times may be tough, and I believe he's referring to the 80s. Mm-hmm. Times are tough, but you can't take that foot out of the future, because
right.
One day you're going to be there, and you want to be ready to prepare those customers and support those customers in the new stuff. You can't just ever focus on the here and now,
right?
Because you'll fall behind.
Yeah,
so, that's some wise words.
Yep.
The way technology's going these days, also, if you stop for a little bit, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, and like Wade just mentioned, the growing pains of adopting that technology. You can't let that turn you off to a point to where you just stay in the here and now. There are going to be challenges, and that's kind of what we focus on, at least in our department, the IntelliFarm department, is let's do all we can to master these technologies so that we can get in front of some of those problems. But we know there's going to be some glitches in the day and age, but you can't afford not to experience them. So yeah. So on that note, we're talking technology. You said you had a little AMS time, and you're coming up. So a company that's 116 years old, talk a little bit about the investments and getting ready for what is coming.
Yeah. Well, if you look at kind of a historical perspective on the technology, we've got an RTK tower network that I commend James Braxton and Johnny Marshall on that. We were really the first dealership group to have that and invest in the tower network, and it's been something that's really been beneficial to our customers. And as we look forward, you look at all the technology, the See and Spray. I mean, that is going to be huge. Autonomy with starting off with autonomous tillage, growing that to autonomous seeding or planting. You got to make sure that we're continuing to invest in the people, the IntelliFarm department, educating our sales team, educating our customers so they're going to be prepared for when these opportunities to make their operations better. And that's the key. I mean, you can't. It's a marathon, and you can't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm going to go run a marathon." I mean, you got to start, and you got to run this far, then you got to run this far, and you got to keep building on that. And then at the end of the day, when it is time to run a marathon, it's not going to be hard for you. Yeah. It's not going to be challenging. So you just got to continue to not take that mindset away.
What in your time, not just in your position, but involved with Wade Incorporated, when and what have been the biggest shifts in the industry that you've seen? When were those kind of points where, maybe it's this technology ramping up, whatnot, but where were some just key moments during the time that you've been on?
Yeah, and I've been in this business for 22 years full time. The auto track, there's a few things. Mm-hmm. Auto track, I mean, the way that just changed everybody's operation was huge. You look at the John Deere cotton picker and the way that kind of revolutionized the cotton harvesting, and the amount of people, the amount of other things that you needed to accompany that harvest. And then you look at this See and Spray technology and the machine learning and the AI that's coming on all this equipment, along with the Ops Center. Customers that are fully utilizing the Ops Center, they're seeing these things I talked about earlier, and that is it's making my life easier. I'm able to manage things at a bigger scale than what I've done in the past. It's going to put more money in my pocket. So you think about, I kind of say the auto track, the cotton picker, and just all this equipment, the technology on it. It's just been a game changer.
There's no doubt we're in the middle of a huge technology revolution in ag right now with what AI is doing and how it's exploded in recent years. And, we've talked about on other episodes, the best thing AI does is it takes enormous amounts of data and makes sense of it. Yeah. Think about all the data points that are in a customer's operation center account from, how fast the tractor was going, how much fuel it was burning, what it was doing, what's that combine doing, that kind of stuff. AI is going to be revolutionary, and the guys that have embraced it, Op Center and the tractor and the John Deere technology early are going to be the ones that really benefit from that. So it's a exciting times.
Yeah, I think it would be neat to talk about your relationship and Wade Incorporated's relationship with John Deere. How there's personnel that Cade talks to at his level. Who are you in talks with John Deere and I guess our relationship currently with them, and just how things flow, back and forth when they are bringing out a new product or wanting to push this or this, and how Wade Incorporated takes that in and implements it.
Yep, that's good. That's a great question. We've got a great relationship with John Deere, and I would say that I am so proud to be a John Deere dealer. It's a great company full of great people. And they do what they say, and their goals are aligned with Wade Incorporated's, and that's to be the best out there and to provide solutions for our customers that's going to make their operations better. Period. That's what they're there to do. Now, is anybody perfect? Wade Incorporated, we're not perfect. John Deere's not perfect, but the recognition of how you can get better. Right, and striving to get better. That's the way John Deere looks at this. And John Deere wants to be a leader in technology, not because they can say they want to be the leader in technology. They want to be the leader in technology because they see how valuable it will be for the customers. So we've got a great relationship with John Deere, and we work with a lot of their leadership team. And in fact, I was at a meeting in Olathe this week, just kind of trying to give some feedback on what's going on in Mississippi, and working with them. And the thing about John Deere is they're great listeners. They're not just waiting for you to finish what you're saying so they can talk. They're listening to what you say, and it's a great partnership. Very proud to be a John Deere dealer. And
specifically Wade Incorporated, from what I've heard you and others say, is that they're listening to us because of the way that we're doing things.
Well, I tell you, I look at our IntelliFarm department, and you think about See and Spray. Well, we've had a See and Spray here in our AOR for about 5 years.
Yeah, basically since I came on board, there was a prototype running down the road.
Yeah, and I think that is a testament that they've got a lot of belief in our IntelliFarm department, along with our service departments. They do bring some products for us to try out, some early limited build products. They do that with a lot of dealers, and I'll say this: there are some unbelievable John Deere dealers out in the world that I learn a lot of things from, and that's also a benefit, being able to visit with other John Deere dealers and see what they're doing to help their customers. And imitation is the highest form of flattery, isn't that how that
right.
goes? Yeah. So I'm not ashamed to say I've imitated a lot of folks out there, but we do it to make our business and our customers better.
I'll never forget. I think it's 2022 or 2023 when we had a meeting, and you stood up and said, out of 42 See and Sprays, 5 of them came from Wade Incorporated, which to me shows you how much effort we're putting into getting the technology out there and staying ahead of the game, and just IntelliFarm doing what they needed to do. That just popped up in my head. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. We flaunted that. Over 10% of the machines sold the first year they were available were running on Wade Incorporated customers.
And I think that's a testament to our customers and how cutting edge or willing they are to try new technology because they see the opportunity of how it'll help their businesses. So I think, that is a testament to Wade Incorporated, our IntelliFarm department, also our customer base.
Yeah. And they're the best testimony right there. So Wade Incorporated is focused on, it seems very forward focused, I guess, and in a lot of things that we do. So talk about some things that you're doing at a higher level that are happening in Wade Incorporated right now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we just had the grand opening of our new facility in Sumner.
Yeah.
We had the grand opening of our new facility in Grenada a couple of years ago, maybe just last year. Mm-hmm. We've got some more plans to make our facilities more modern, to be able to handle the equipment and the type of equipment that we've got coming forward. So we're continuing to focus on that. We're going to continue to invest in our facilities, in our people, and make sure that we're prepared for any future opportunities. And as ag and the technology changes, we're getting in front of that. So we're doing that. We just about 3 weeks ago, we had the opportunity to acquire a John Deere dealership in Indiana, Reynolds Farm Equipment. Reynolds Farm Equipment, we've had a long relationship with this group. In fact, 2025 is their 70th year in business. So they're a family business, a long-standing family business that do an excellent job in that area. And Gary Reynolds and he and his team of Michael Bodie and Chris O'Neill and Angie Hungate, they reached out to us because he was ready to do something different, and we've had a long relationship with that group, and Gary wanted us to come into that area because I think he knows the type of people we are, the values that we have, and the way that we want to focus on taking care of our customers and taking care of our employees. So we were able to work with Gary and his team to come up with an agreement. We closed with those guys on March the 5th. It's still Reynolds Farm Equipment, and we're doing business in Indiana right now. It's really exciting because of the opportunities that we'll have in Mississippi and what we'll have in Indiana. They're a high-performing dealer that is very customer-focused, and they got a high-performing team out there. And so we're going to be able to learn some things from them. Yeah. They're going to be able to learn some things from us. And the outcome we're looking for is for both organizations to be even better, or to get better and be even better than what we are today. So, you look at a company that's Wade Incorporated that's 116 years old, and you look at a company Reynolds that's 70 years. Hey, 186 years of combined business. That there's a lot of knowledge
That's
there,
exactly
and
right.
there's some good things to pull out of that.
I think it's neat that they. It's obvious from what you've told us that they have the same type of views and customer focus, like you said, that we have here, and they sought out somebody that could continue their legacy that they have.
That's right.
I think that's impressive. Also, what are some similarities, I guess, between both companies? What are they heavy in some other areas that we aren't, and how are we going to learn from each other on that?
Yep. It's very similar. There are 5 locations, five large locations, and just to add, much like Wade Incorporated, they're also community focused, and realize how John Deere dealerships can play a big part in the success of communities, especially small towns. Employ a lot of people. Agriculture very heavy, so they too are very community focused. A lot of similarities from the fact that they've got store managers at each location. As far as the mix of kind of agriculture equipment and turf equipment, very similar, but you're all around Indianapolis, and there's some suburbs there, so they do a lot of turf, a lot of compact construction equipment.
Oh yeah.
You think about a lot of the professional landscape contractors in that area, where a lot of the guys in this area, and when the wintertime, they kind of are shut down because grass isn't growing. Well, you get up there, in the wintertime, they're removing snow. So there's a lot of opportunity up there. They do an excellent job of the turf customer. you think about all the lawnmowers in that area and going and picking them up and delivering them and taking care of the customers, communicating with the customers. Anyway, I can go on forever. It just, at the end of the day, we're just excited to be able to learn from them and them learn from us. And at the end of the day, create an environment where we provide an even better customer experience for our customers, because that's what we're here to do, and try to be a leader in the ag business, in turf business.
Yeah, lots of, just a few videos that I've seen that they've posted on their website and their socials. A lot of parallels. You watch Mr. Reynolds talk, you watch your dad talk. A lot of similar mindsets. Like you said, very, very people focused, both internally and customer facing. Both companies. So
I think it's neat that we're in all these smaller communities, small town type area, and all around Indianapolis. Like, you just don't think much about the equipment that's used there. They still are selling those tractors, and customers using the bigger, large ag, I would say.
Oh yeah.
There's still a lot of that area.
they just have to get on a 8-lane highway to get to the farm.
Yeah, sometimes, but you kind of get around, and a lot of corn and soybeans and great dirt. Customers, same type of customers we got, stewards of the land. It's just so many similarities. It's just, you got one in Indiana and one in Mississippi. But if you were to meet some of their customers or some of their employees, they're just like customers and employees down here. So it's a good match. We're very excited about it. So Gary Reynolds he's going to be retiring, but we're keeping him in office there whenever he wants to come. and Gary wants us to be successful in that area. We know that. And then Michael Bodie stays on as the CEO. Chris O'Neill is the COO. Angie Hungate's the chief administration officer there. So it's the same leadership team that's been there. It's the same people that live in those communities. And we were very focused on not changing that, because they do a really good job.
If they've done so well for the last 70 years, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm sure it's a lot of the same people that you have dealt with over the years at deer meetings.
Oh yeah.
So that helps. It's not something brand new. You've had those relationships for a long while.
Gary O'Neill, who owned that, his father started it, and he's got family there. He said his first year working back full time in the business, he went to the North American Equipment Dealers Association meeting. He was a young buck, just got in there, and he said that the president giving the speech that year was my grandfather, George K. Wade. So it was there's a lot of similarities, and we were in a peer group with those guys for a long time. So they're just top notch.
And you just wonder if somehow those many years ago, if that seed was planted and it's kind of been in the back of their minds ever since. I mean, and now, years later, the companies meet up again.
That's right.
That's
It all comes around.
That's it. And I want to talk a little bit about working with your family. Y'all got a very established company that y'all are running. A lot of legacy has been built. You got a fantastic culture. We see that as employees of Wade Incorporated. But you got, working hand in hand with your brother, your sister, your dad still involved. Your brother-in-law's just down the hall.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that and maybe how that helps make Wade Incorporated what it is today.
Yeah, no, it's great working with the family. Of course, I'm here. My brother Powell, he's here. CFO Zach, my brother-in-law, he's a sales manager. Gerard's in the business and helps out, and of course Dad's still involved in the business some. It's great. I mean, we talk about work and our customers from 7 to 5, and then when we're having Sunday lunch, we talk about work and we talk about our customers, and then when we're done playing pickleball, we talk about work and we talk about our customers. But that's a testament that we love it. We like to talk about it. It's something that we are passionate about it. And we do got a good legacy, 116 years, but look, hey, it's all about what you do from this point forward, right? I mean, that we got the opportunity, but a lot of people are, they say, hey, it's great what 116 years, but really, all we got now is just an opportunity to carry that forward and try to be the best we can be for our customers, and that's the goal. And everybody in our family realizes that and understands that's the goal. And if you take that approach, and you got a good product and you got good people and you're taking care of great customers, the goal is another 116 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at big corporations out there and how many hands have passed and how many people have come in and come out, and then for 116 years you still got the family ties. That's just what's
dynamic that you don't see a lot.
No,
the
not at
world,
all.
in the world.
Well,
It's
back to what he's saying about being the oldest. I mean, that's
something to be proud of.
That's so telling, is that there are older John Deere dealers that were probably family owned, or for sure were family owned, but they have since, passed on to another ownership set, and Wade Incorporated is not that way. And so that's extremely impressive. I had told people oldest family owned in the country. I was not aware it was oldest John Deere dealer in the world. That's I'm going to have to add that to my LinkedIn profile.
How big of an influence did your dad have on you? Like, saying you going into a situation or whatever, and it's like asking him for advice or whatever, just keeping family oriented.
Oh yeah, no, tremendous. I mean, even today, I mean, doing things that just go and run things by him. I probably, as we all were in our younger years, didn't think his advice was as good as it was. We all probably have situations like that.
We've
but
all been there.
you're quick to learn. What do they say? The older you get, apparently your parents become smarter. But the truth of the matter is they've always been smart, but you're just now realizing it. So, I respect my father and my mother tremendously, and has been a huge driver in everything I do. So I'm lucky, fortunate, very proud. So it's been a good deal and continues to be a good deal.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody in the company can see that, and see the impression that he left on you. Of course, I've only been here for a few years, but I did intern and got to meet your dad back in 2013, I believe.
Yeah.
And, I was just a little summer intern. He walked in, shook my hand, talked to me for a little bit, and I'm like, that means something.
Yeah.
Now I still remember that today, and remembered that when I got the phone call about y'all creating a teleform years ago, try to get me back to Mississippi, and glad I answered that phone call.
Hey, we are too. We are too, Cade.
I think we hadn't spoken on your family. I guess
Right,
you could
yeah.
just give a little.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great. No. Yeah. So my beautiful wife, Megan Litton, who, we've been married 19 years in June. We both went to school together, but we didn't know each other. I say thank goodness. If she would have known me in college, maybe wouldn't have married me. And then three children. Kenan, who's 13, my son Robert, who is 11, and then Elizabeth, who is 8. So 3 children, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a turtle. So it's yeah.
Where is Megan from?
Megan, that's a good question. Megan, she was born in Orlando, then lived in Illinois for a while, but basically grew up in Memphis.
Yeah.
And then when she was in college, her parents moved down to Jacksonville. We got married in that Jacksonville area, and then now they live just outside of Knoxville. Her parents, her mother's from Athens, Tennessee, East Tennessee, and her dad grew up in Miami and played football at Tennessee, and that's where they
cool.
met. Yeah. And Megan, we started seeing each other kind of right after college because we had friends that were getting married, and so you kind of and anyway, she was dating some guy, and I was trying my hardest to get that to stop. And she was working for State Farm right out of college in the claims department, and this was before kind of really. I mean, Facebook was happening, but I wasn't very good at that. So anyway, I got the phone number from the local State Farm agent here,
Filed a claim.
and
Had a wreck, filed a claim.
I called up there, and got around to about 3 or 4 people just asking for her, and finally got her on the phone because that was the only way I could get her. And think she saw how persistent I was. Maybe was the.
Goes a long way.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing in your off time? I'm sure
Yeah.
family is
Yep.
a big one.
Yep.
But
Yep.
outside of that, what are some of your hobbies?
Family. I like to play golf. Go run, go hunting. Just really right now, kids of the age, you're spending all your time with them. But I like to golf and exercise and spend some time outdoors. So do yard work. It's fun.
Did you find the turtle, or what's the turtle's name? I can't
turtle's-
stop thinking about the
I'm
turtle.
trying to
Oh,
think of
no.
what his name. I forgot.
Don't
his
quiz
name.
him.
We
This
can
is
cut that
important.
part.
Shelly or something with a
Shelly.
shell. This is our second turtle we've had. Kennan actually got this turtle. He was playing golf at the country club and pulled it out of a pond and brought it home as a joke. And then Elizabeth's like, "We're keeping this turtle." But this is the second turtle we've had. The last turtle, I mean, normally you get these turtles, they live for a couple of months, but this thing lived for like 4 years. It grew, and we used to live in a house in Greenwood that has a pond.
Oh, right.
So we
Yeah.
released it into the pond. So we say it's still there. Yeah.
I passed that pond on my way home. I may just have to go in and
See,
see if I
yeah.
see Shelly 1.0.
Yeah, Shelly maybe sunbathing. Right? Yeah.
Love.
Thought you were gonna ask me about my golf here.
Well, I just
You said you
I
were
wasn't
good.
going to go into any
So
more.
good.
Wasn't want to go into more details.
If you want to know about golfing,
On that
let me
swing.
teach you how to golf.
I bet you're the pickleball.
He's the pickleball
I can
guy.
pickleball, but golf is not my sport. I love it. I can't hit a ball to
I
save
would-
my life.
So Gaston and I, funny story. Gaston and I were in charge of assembling the teams, of course, for our last
Oh, I know.
sales meeting,
Oh, I know that.
golf event, and we did our best to make Wade's team contentious, but really didn't want him to come away victorious, and that backfired in our face.
Yeah,
he
we
did
put Matt
win, though.
Smith on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
I don't know
it was
if
a
he took-
four-man scramble. I don't think he took 6 swings.
Yeah, the whole time.
He kept. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh,
I forgot.
man.
The best part was
backfired.
we beat Caleb's team.
That is, yeah.
yeah.
That was the best part.
There towards the end, I was rooting for you.
Yeah, no,
I was rooting for you.
I think, yeah.
Have you spent that gift card yet?
I think I spent it that day. That was for the country club at the pro shop. Yeah, I think so. Got a credit, offset some charges. Yeah,
But that swing came from that beautiful golf swing that you have that allows you to win some of these, intercompany tournaments.
that's right.
It was founded. Where was that swing
Is-
born?
yeah, started playing golf right when I graduated in Kapalua in Maui. I
was
lived
about to
there
say
for a
Hawaii,
year. Yeah, lived there for a year, and I was a bag boy. I would, load the bags on the cart. When they come back, clean them off, get tips. So I did that for a year. But the perk was, it was a Kapalua where they played that first tournament of the year, the
Yeah.
plantation
Oh,
course,
right.
the Century. Yeah, and they had 3 courses then. Now it's just 2. But the perk was you worked there, so you got to play golf for free anytime there was an opening. So you'd work that morning shift and then get off at noon, and then you'd go play golf.
I knew that wasn't a local swing.
Yeah,
You can spot him from across the
yeah.
course. You don't even have to know who he is. You just
Real
see him
smooth.
swinging. Like,
Yeah.
"There's
Silky
Wade.
smooth.
There's Wade over
yeah.
there."
Well, unfortunately, the results maybe are better out in Hawaii than they are here.
Yeah, your kids change that.
That's right. They do.
Practice time.
It's a
Gaston's seeing that.
perishable skill.
I'm starting
He's
to
seeing
see
that
it.
right now.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
seeing
not out
that
there
right
as
now.
much as I want to be.
yeah.
Part of it.
Well, good talk.
Yeah. All right.
Again, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're excited about this endeavor that we're on the tailgate. Looking forward to a lot of new episodes. Of course, like we mentioned, we're going to talk all things technology, John Deere technology. We're going to talk influencers in agriculture. We're going to get Rootin' Riggs and one of his counterparts in here. We'll talk about the benefits of John Deere service, connected support, and we'll just get into the weeds on Op Center, gardening,
Hunting.
anything you want to talk about on the tailgate.
Well, in our intro, down home wisdom.
Down home
Down
wisdom.
home wisdom.
That's
I like
right.
that.
We
But
don't
of
know where
course-
that's coming from yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be in there somewhere.
It's going to be something sooner than later.
I think we'll have you on some more.
Man,
I
I'd
mean,
love to.
throughout we'll
Absolutely.
try to find guests that you probably will help us bring in some guests.
I got
And-
some
and-
great ideas.
Yeah, so you'll be on it with us in the future.
Yeah.
And if any of our listeners do have suggestions or feedback or comments, questions for Wade or anything, be sure to reach out to us at onthetailgate@wadeinc.com. So appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Tailgate.